talking with the experts.
What is the importance of integrating these core values into both our professional and our personal lives? Now, what are some practical strategies?
The number one practical strategy that I have in regards to small business owners is the values associated that other people have. Okay, it's in regards to hiring. Um, People compromise in regards to who they hire all the time, and a bad hire is one of the most costly mistakes that every business makes. Okay. So how do you identify a good hire from a bad hire? There's psychological tests, etc. There's skill tests. Can you do X, Y, or Z? There's resumes. Oh, I see you worked for so and so doing this job. You must have the skill set that I'm looking for here. With all that said, having someone that has the positive values to create and contribute to your culture is as important as the skills that he might bring to the table.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello, welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson, and Talking with the Experts is all about business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And don't forget, if you like this episode, why not subscribe or follow the podcast on any of the podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And don't forget to ding that bell so you know when future episodes are released. Today, my guest is Chris Lautenslager, and we're going to be discussing the power of values-driven leadership. And I'm looking forward to that conversation. Chris is a renowned keynote speaker. He's author and dedicated small business advocate who has made a significant impact in the world of business through his commitment to values-driven leadership. As the owner and founder of Get Looped, Chris specialises in supporting small business owners by helping them integrate core values into their professional and personal lives. His transformative seminars on values development have empowered countless entrepreneurs to achieve greater success and resilience. Drawing from his own Wall Street to wellness journey, Chris inspires audiences with his compelling story of overcoming addiction and his expertise in fostering mentorship and supportive relationships. So whether through his best-selling books or engaging seminars, Chris is dedicated to guiding small business owners towards a future of growth, integrity, and fulfillment. Chris, it is a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Rose. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Wonderful. Tell me about your journey, how you got to where you are now.
Well, it's been a long and winding road, as the song goes. And, for all of us that are in business, I think it's an understatement to say that life is not linear. There's ups and downs and more ups and downs, and then yet some more. And how you approach those makes all the difference in the world in regards to the value, purpose, and enjoyment of that journey overall. And I say this as a person who, has been through a lot. And I've had enough experiences growing up in a family that was based around a small business. My father had a small construction company. And for all of us out there that have grown up in a family business, we all know that everyone is involved in the business. It is
Absolutely.
it is part of the family. And I think I learned how to handle a broom before I learned how to read a book. And I've also worked on Wall Street. When my father passed away, I was 19 years old, and we were forced to sell the business. And I started a career here at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. and then got my master's in business and went on to Wall Street and worked at some senior global jobs in some of the finer financial institutions of the world. So I've had the opportunity to be able to experience the face-to-face of mom and pop, and also working with some of the most recognized financial titans in the world. And after I retired and moved to Breckenridge, Colorado. The pandemic, the pandemic impacted me emotionally so so strongly because I saw so many hundreds of thousands of family businesses
Mm,
being decimated, being closed down, being dreams being destroyed, and hearts being broken.
yeah.
And I didn't see anyone out there raising their hands and saying, "Hey, this isn't." Actually, I sound like one of my daughters now. This isn't fair, and it wasn't fair. But not only isn't it fair, it's not being corrected,
Mm,
or at least it wasn't. I do believe there's a shift in tide now in which small business owners, entrepreneurs, are getting the recognition and the support from the overall business community. Large global multinational organizations obviously have a lot of power and influence, but the real innovation, the real juice in capitalism, so to speak, is coming from small businesses. And with the changes that are going on in technology, it allows for small businesses to magnify, to leverage their skills and capabilities to such a degree that they can have a real impact.
mm.
And that's where values come in regards to how your business actually succeeds or fails.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a
That's why
lot
I
of,
started this podcast, was to help business owners during the pandemic, because, as you say, a lot of small businesses were really challenged in finding a way how they could stay open. And I thought, well, if I could get some practical tips from other business owners, how they were navigating the really terrible time, and being able to stay open, I thought, what a great way to reach those owners that could be challenged and not be able to find alternative ways of staying open.
it's true. And for those that survived that really difficult, horrible time, kudos. You were able to stay alive, which is really in a small business. So many times that's your number one objective: just stay alive, live to fight another day. If you weren't able to, and so many weren't, my my advice: don't give up. Try again.
Absolutely.
So many successful business owners don't make it on their first, second, third, fourth business. It's the perseverance. It's the keep. Every single time you go through a business, you learn something. That's the tuition that you're paying to be able to go and be successful the next time. It's an expensive tuition, and fortunately, we have podcasts and we have books and we have YouTube and we have all these different tools that help us be able to reduce some of the challenges and errors that we experience. But you're still going to make mistakes, and that's how we learn. Right now, I'm starting a new business myself, and I keep reminding myself every single day, what am I doing today to generate revenue? What am I doing today to generate revenue? It is the number one focus of every single action that I do. I have a list of things that I want to do in the morning, and that list always starts with first things first, or eat the frog, as Stephen Covey would say. What's the hardest thing or the most important thing that's going to bring me closer to generating revenues? And I learned that from not generating revenues initially, from being distracted with marketing and sales and
Mm.
promotions and inventory and all these other things, and then you run out of money. Um, or actually, in my case, it wasn't that I ran out of money. It's just that it kept coming out of my pocket.
Chris, I want to talk about the power of these value-driven leadership, ways that we can do our business. What is the importance of integrating these core values into both our professional and our personal lives? Now, what are some practical strategies?
So the number one practical strategy that I have in regards to small business owners is the values associated that other people have. Okay, it's in regards to hiring. Um, People compromise in regards to who they hire all the time, and a bad hire is one of the most costly mistakes that every business makes. Okay. So how do you identify a good hire from a bad hire? There's psychological tests, etc. There's skill tests. Can you do X, Y, or Z? There's resumes. Oh, I see you worked for so and so doing this job. You must have the skill set that I'm looking for here. With all that said, having someone that has the positive values to create and contribute to your culture is as important as the skills that he might bring to the table.
Oh,
Okay. Because
absolutely.
a bad employee is poison, is just poison to your business, to your customers, to your revenues, to every step that you try to take forward in your business. So, values are important in regards to the people that you hire. Make sure that they actually are in alignment with the purpose of your organization. If they're just there for a check, move on.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think the value of the business has to align with the person that you're hiring. I mean, if they don't live within those values, then they're not a good fit.
It's not a good fit. And people underestimate how difficult it is to get out of a relationship, or underestimate the damage that can be done. I've seen so many small business owners that are like, if he doesn't work, I'll just find someone else. Oh boy.
That's not as easy as it sounds.
It's certainly not as easy as it sounds. And there's, every business owner that I know will tell you that having an employee headache is just the most frustrating experience of your business, because there's so many fires to be able to that you need to focus on, and having to deal with the same troublesome employee is draining, to say the least.
Yeah, and it's not good for your mental health either. I mean, because you're constantly, as you say, putting out those fires, and one day you're going to say or do something that's out of character because you're just under so much stress.
If you think that someone's not going to fit, do something about it immediately, because
Mm,
your intuition's 99% right. They're not going to fit. It's so
absolutely.
easy to tell. It's so easy to tell when you have a good employee. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. It's just apparent in every aspect
Mm,
of what they do and the interaction that they have. You're grateful that they're there. Um,
absolutely.
Fill
Now,
your company with employees that you're grateful for.
absolutely, I totally agree with that. And a happy workplace makes for happy home life, I think.
Very much so. And
Mm.
when you're a small business owner, they're interchangeable. They're one and the same.
Absolutely. Now, I'd like to talk about your journey from Wall Street to wellness. How did you overcome adversity from that in that way?
With help. Okay. This is the other aspect associated with having values and building relationships. Okay. Business is about relationships. It's just not about selling goods and services.
Mm.
People have so many choices. Why should they buy from you? Okay, if you have a good product, great. But mostly it's about the relationship that you develop with the client. And um, when I was struggling, I so didn't want to get help. It's the nature, it's the nature of being a business owner is, you know, we're so self-reliant. We don't want people to know what's going on. We feel like it's important that we keep a certain level of a front. Um, and here's what's so crazy about when you're struggling. Everyone knows,
Mm.
okay? There's no secrets. So just be honest. And when you need help, ask for it. You don't have to be the captain of the Titanic. You really don't.
Mm.
Asking for help and getting contributions from other business owners, or in my case, people that know how to deal with addiction, saved my life. Asking for help is the hardest thing. It was so humbling and so fearful,
Mm.
but it was actually the best thing that I ever did. It not only changed my life, but it taught me how to be able to communicate with others in a way that allowed their expertise and their understanding to be able to make mine better.
Yeah, and I think that there is something to be said for from mentorship and supportive relationships with others. And you're right, don't be frightened to go and ask for help. It doesn't matter, but make sure that the person that you're asking help from is actually qualified to give that help.
Very
I'm
much
not
so.
saying in
So
an
many people.
educational way, but yeah, they might have life experience that can help you, but don't go to just any random person. Make sure that they're qualified to give that advice.
That's such a great point, Rose. And that goes in not just in regards to addiction or wellness, but in all things. You know, again, being a business owner can be a really lonely position.
Mm.
The buck stops with you, and you're responsible for everything. Finding a group of peers that allows you to be able to talk and discuss and ask questions is so valuable. Um, so, and I know your time is limited and you have family commitments at home, but it's so important to be able to have people that you can talk with. You know, I was just watching a video. Okay, I was just watching TikTok, and they had this funeral director came on my feed, and the funeral director, she's like, here's 5 things that you learn when you're a funeral director that you don't really think about. And she's like, you're going to die. And 2, it's sooner than you expect, and it's never when you expect it. And she's like, so have a sense of urgency in regards to what you do, and in particular, the relationships that you have, because the relationships that you have are what are valued the most in all of life. And so I consciously make a point to try and call one person every single day to connect with, whether they're a high school friend or a college friend or someone that I know from going to AA meetings or any number of sources, to reach out and say, hi, how are you? I care for you. I was thinking of you. You're important in my life. And those types of bonds and commitments are part of the values that are important in life.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, um, that's part of the whole like networking process is that, whether they're a business colleague or a personal colleague or a friend or family member, you've got to be able to trust them enough to rely on them to give you the right information and to help you through those little bumps that happen along the way.
And that's let me actually thank you for reminding me about that connection, Rose, because you can ask. So number one, it's important to have relationships and connections and a dialogue with people on a regular basis. Number two, asking someone's opinion is different than asking someone's expertise.
Mm.
Okay? Don't ask the dry cleaner or the person cutting your hair about your inventory. Find someone who understands. If, great advice. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Yours is going to be included now, Rose.
Oh, thank you.
Um, and it's some advice that I've heard is if you want to be rich like someone, ask someone who's rich how they got there and start hanging around and being with that person. So, but here's the caveat. Rich people don't want to hang around you unless you can contribute. So
Mm.
what value can you contribute to include you in the conversation? And it doesn't have to be that you're the richest guy in the room. It doesn't have to be that you're the strongest guy in the room. It doesn't have to be that you're the funniest guy in the room. But the easy one is you're the one that cares the most.
Mhm.
And when you show and indicate that you care, that you're a contributor, that you're a positive influence, they'll want to hang around with you.
Absolutely. And you have to bring value to all relationships, whether they're your work relationships or your personal relationships. You need to add that value.
Otherwise, they'll go somewhere else.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Now, Chris, you can be found on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and at getlooped.com. Is there any other things that you would like to share with our audience today?
So when you mention getloop.com, I'd like to identify that as www.get-looped. Go to my website. You can find me on TikTok, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and I'm here to help. If you have questions, reach out. I'm not really selling anything. I'm starting a different business right now. At some point in time, I'll share more about that. But until that, my focus is on being of service to others.
Yeah, I like that. That's not, and I think we should all strive to be of service to others in some small way. I mean, a smile, a small gratitude, honestly, can make someone else's day.
Someone help me, I'm happy to help someone else.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think I'm quite a heart-centered person, and if I see someone that needs help, then yes, I will go out of my way to do what I can, if I can do that, to help.
I can see that, Rose.
Thanks, Chris. I have really enjoyed our conversation. I was wondering if you had anything else to share as part of this, values of leadership.
I think we've covered a lot of it, Rose. I don't want to overwhelm people. I want to encourage you to enjoy the ride. It's not always fair. It's not always easy. It's not always positive, but how you interpret it, how you experience it, makes all the difference in the world in regards to how you're going to come out of any difficulty that you have and turn it into joy and pleasure.
Absolutely. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing with us today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Rose.
Bye for now.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time.